Close your eyes. Breathe gently. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your thoughts settle like dust in warm evening light. Journey back 2,000 years to ancient Rome. Tonight, as you drift into peaceful sleep, let me tell you the complete story of one man's extraordinary life. A life of wisdom, power, exile, and courage. This is the story of Seneca, philosopher, writer, and guide to emperors. There's nothing you need to remember, no details to memorize. Just let the story wash over you, carrying you gently into rest. If you drift away, let yourself go. The tale will be here, flowing like a quiet river, waiting to guide you into dreams. Part 1. Beginnings. Picture the warm hills of southern Spain, olive groves stretching to the horizon, the Guadalquivir River flowing peacefully through ancient Córdoba. This is where our story begins, in a world of sunlight and learning. Young Seneca was born into a family of scholars. His father was a teacher of rhetoric, the art of persuasive speech. His mother Helvia was intelligent and strong. There were brothers, a household filled with books and conversation. They were wealthy enough to dream, educated enough to pursue those dreams. Breathe slowly and imagine the journey. A small boy travelling with his family to Rome, the greatest city on earth, with its towering temples, its crowded forums, its streets alive with 1,000 languages. Rome under its first emperor, a city of marble and ambition. There, young Seneca received the finest education. He learned poetry and mathematics, astronomy and music. But most of all, he learned philosophy. He sat at the feet of teachers who spoke of virtue, of self-control, of finding peace regardless of circumstance. Let yourself relax as we watch Seneca discover what would become his life's work. His teachers spoke of living simply, sleeping on hard beds, eating plain food. Young Seneca tried it all, eager, earnest, searching for truth. But his father worried. These austere practices seemed dangerous in a Rome growing suspicious of foreign philosophies. So Seneca adapted, learning to blend wisdom with practicality, an art he would practice his entire life. The years of illness. As you breathe gently, know that Seneca's path was not smooth. While still young, he fell gravely ill. Severe breathing problems left him gasping for air. There were moments when he thought death was near, when each breath felt like his last. He called these attacks rehearsing death, and in those dark moments he made a choice. Not to give up, but to continue. For his family, for those who loved him. This decision would shape everything he later wrote about living well. Picture the journey south and east across the Mediterranean, to Egypt, to Alexandria with its great library, its blend of cultures. The warm, dry climate helped him breathe. Slowly, over years, his health improved. His aunt cared for him like a mother. He had time to read, to think, to grow. Let your mind rest as we move through these quiet years. Seneca studied the Nile's flooding, the stars, the natural world. He was becoming not just learned, but wise. Learning that suffering could be a teacher, that weakness could become strength. Then his uncle died, and it was time to return. He sailed back to Rome, no longer a sickly youth, but a man, mature, tested, ready. The imperial city awaited with all its dangers and opportunities. Part 2. Power and Peril. Let the next part of his life unfold slowly, like a dream. Rome was dangerous now. The emperor had grown paranoid, ruling from a distant island. Senators could be accused of treason for a careless word. Trust evaporated. Fear spread like morning fog. But Seneca began his political career anyway. He entered the Senate, managing finances, learning the machinery of power, and then he spoke. His oratory was brilliant, moving, unforgettable. People whispered that a new star was rising. If you feel yourself drifting, let yourself go. This success nearly killed him. The new emperor, mad and jealous, heard of Seneca's eloquence. He hated anyone who shone too brightly. He ordered Seneca's death. But someone intervened. A voice whispers to the emperor, told him Seneca was already dying of illness anyway. Why bother? The emperor, convinced, spared him. Seneca lived, saved by his reputation for poor health, irony, or fate. Breathe deeply and watch Seneca step back from the spotlight. He focused on writing, on philosophy. He survived. Then the mad emperor was assassinated, and a new ruler took power. Married to an ambitious woman who saw threats everywhere, she accused Seneca of adultery with the emperor's niece. Whether true or false, we'll never know. What matters is the sentence: exile. To Corsica, that rough island far from Rome's comforts and culture, away from everything he loved. Part 3. The Island. As your body softens, picture Seneca's departure, the ship pulling away from port. Rome receding in the distance, his mother in tears. Friends, if any dared be seen with him, offering quiet farewells. The future uncertain as morning mist. Corsica was wild, mountainous, covered in dense forests. The people spoke strange languages. For a man used to libraries and theatres, philosophical discussions and Roman baths, it seemed like the end of the world. Let yourself sink deeper into rest as we watch Seneca struggle. At first, he fought his exile. He wrote to his mother, trying to comfort her, trying to convince himself that exile was nothing, that a wise man could be happy anywhere. But the words rang hollow. He wrote to powerful men, flattering them, pleading indirectly for recall. Some see this as weakness, others see it as human. A man doing what he must to survive. Both are true. There's nothing you need to hold on to. Just let the story continue. Years passed. 1, 2, 3, 8 in total. And slowly something changed. Seneca stopped fighting. He began to accept. To see exile not as punishment, but as opportunity. Away from Rome's distractions, he could focus entirely on wisdom. He studied the stars from Corsican hills. He read the great philosophers. He discovered that external circumstances don't determine happiness, that a wise man truly can find peace anywhere. Take another slow breath. Let your body soften even more. There's nowhere you need to be. Breathe gently and picture the turning point. The empress who exiled him fell from power. The emperor needed a new wife, a woman named Agrippina, beautiful, intelligent, ruthless. She had a son named Nero and grand plans for his future. She needed a tutor for her boy, someone brilliant, educated, someone who could teach philosophy and statecraft. She thought of Seneca, wasting away on Corsica. She arranged his recall, and so, after 8 long years, Seneca returned to Rome, older, wiser, marked by suffering, ready for his greatest challenge. Part 4. The Golden Years. If you drift off, let the story carry you. Picture young Nero, about 12 years old, handsome, artistic, with a beautiful voice. He loved poetry and music. He was not yet cruel, just a child raised in the poisonous atmosphere of an imperial court. Seneca taught him philosophy. He introduced him to Stoic principles, told him that a good ruler should be merciful, that power should benefit all, that virtue mattered more than wealth. He tried to create a philosopher king. Let your breathing slow as we watch the pieces fall into place. Agrippina convinced the emperor to adopt Nero. Then the emperor died, possibly poisoned, and Nero became emperor at 16, the youngest Rome had ever known. Standing beside him were two guides, Seneca the philosopher and a military commander. Together they would try to manage this young ruler, to protect Rome from the dangers of absolute power in inexperienced hands. As you sink deeper into rest, know that for 5 years it worked. These were called the Golden Years. The government ran smoothly. The economy prospered. When Nero was asked to sign a death warrant, he allegedly said, "I wish I had never learned to write." Seneca reached the height of his power. He became consul, one of Rome's highest offices. He amassed enormous wealth, and through it all he kept writing. Essays on anger, on time, on tranquility, letters about how to live well. But darkness was gathering. Nero was changing. The boy who wept at signing death warrants was becoming someone different. The balance was shifting, tilting, beginning to break. Part 5. Shadows Falling. There's nothing you need to remember, just let the story flow. Nero's younger stepbrother died suddenly at a dinner. The official story was illness, but most believed it was poison. Nero's first step into darkness. Breathe slowly as we witness Seneca's dilemma. He must have known, must have suspected, but he said nothing. He stayed at Nero's side. Perhaps he thought one terrible act was better than abandoning the emperor to worse advisors. Perhaps he couldn't let go of power, both truths existing together. Then Nero fell in love with an ambitious woman named Poppaea. She wanted to be empress, but Nero was already married and his mother would never allow divorce. His mother became a problem, wielding influence, threatening his freedom. Let yourself drift as something terrible unfolds. Nero decided his mother must die. He invited her to a festival, all smiles and reconciliation. But the reunion was false. What followed was a tragic ending, one that would haunt Nero and Seneca both. And Seneca helped cover it up. He wrote the speech explaining it away, crafting lies with all his skill. This was perhaps the darkest moment of his life. The philosopher who wrote of virtue, now an accomplice to terrible crime. As your body relaxes completely, understand this. Seneca was trapped, tangled in power, unable to see a way out. Or perhaps he told himself that staying close would prevent worse. We can judge him, or we can recognize his very human struggle. After this, Nero's behavior worsened. He married Poppaea. He performed on stage, scandalous for an emperor. Seneca's influence faded like evening light. He tried to retire, but Nero refused, so Seneca withdrew anyway, staying away from court, writing, preparing for the end he knew was coming. Then came the great fire that devastated Rome. Nero needed scapegoats. He blamed the Christians. The city burned, thousands died, and Seneca watched from a distance, a ghost of his former influence. Waiting, take a slow, gentle breath. Let your body sink deeper into rest. There's nothing you need to do. Just listen, or don't listen. Sleep comes naturally when you allow it. Part 6. The end of the journey. Let the final part unfold gently, like the close of day. A conspiracy formed against Nero. Senators and soldiers decided the tyrant must go, but someone talked and the plot was discovered. Arrests began. Torture chambers filled. The purge spread through Rome's elite. And whether Seneca was involved or not, his very existence made him dangerous. His wisdom, his moral authority, these were threats to Nero's power. If you feel yourself drifting into sleep, let yourself go. Under torture, someone named Seneca. It was enough. Nero sent a guard to Seneca's estate outside Rome. The old philosopher was having dinner with his wife and friends when the message came. Seneca was asked if he knew about the conspiracy. He calmly denied it. The guard returned to Nero. Did Seneca seem prepared to die? Yes, completely calm. Then let him die, said Nero. The order was given. Breathe slowly and picture this. Seneca received the news without surprise. He had been expecting this, had written about death for decades, had prepared for this moment. His wife declared she would die with him. He tried to dissuade her, but she insisted. She would not abandon him now. As you sink into deeper rest, know that they called for a physician. In Roman custom, forced suicide meant opening your veins, a dignified death. The cuts were made, but Seneca was old, thin. His blood flowed slowly. Death would not come quickly. Soldiers were sent to save his wife, bind in her wounds. She survived, though she bore the scars forever. But for Seneca, there would be no reprieve. Hours passed. The bleeding continued. He asked for poison, drank it. Still death was slow. Let your mind rest as we reach the end. Finally, Seneca asked to be carried to a warm bath. The heat would increase circulation, hasten the inevitable. They carried him to the heated room. He stepped into the warm water, and there, in the steam, he sprinkled water around him as an offering. "Thank you," he said, "for freedom." The heat did what blade and poison could not. His breathing grew laboured, then ceased. Seneca, philosopher and statesman, writer and teacher, died in that bath. His body was cremated quietly, without ceremony, as he had wished. Part 7. What remains? There's nothing you need to hold on to. Just let these thoughts settle gently. Seneca's death was not the end. His writings survived. And for 2,000 years, they have helped people live better lives. At the heart of his teaching was this, that virtue is the only true good, not wealth, not pleasure, not even health, but virtue alone. Everything else is neither good nor bad in itself. Breathe gently as we explore what he taught. He wrote about anger, that destructive emotion that ruins peace. The cure is to pause, to give yourself time before reacting, to recognize that most of what angers us is trivial. He wrote about time, our most precious resource. It's not that we have a short time to live, he said, but that we waste a lot of it. The cure is to live deliberately, to choose how we spend each hour. Let yourself drift as we continue. He wrote about wealth. Having experienced both riches and exile, he knew that wealth itself is neutral. What matters is how we use it, how attached we become. He wrote beautifully about death. Death is nothing to fear, simply the end of life. By accepting death's inevitability, we learn to appreciate life more fully. We stop wasting time on trivial concerns. As your body relaxes completely, understand his central insight. We control some things and not others. We can control our thoughts, our reactions, our character. We cannot control external events. Wisdom lies in focusing on what we can control. Through the centuries, Seneca's words have endured. Medieval monks copied his works. Renaissance scholars read him avidly. Modern readers find in him a guide for dealing with stress, with anxiety, with life's complexity. Was Seneca perfect? No. He was wealthy when he preached about wealth. He served Nero even after Nero became monstrous. He compromised, he failed, he struggled. And perhaps that's exactly what makes him valuable. He wasn't a sage living in perfect virtue. He was a man trying to be good in a corrupt world. Breathe slowly and let this settle. His struggles are our struggles. His insights remain powerful because they came from lived experience, from someone who tried, failed, and tried again. Closing, rest now. Let yourself drift completely now. Return to that bath, to those final moments. Seneca, bleeding, dying slowly. Was this a fitting end for a philosopher? Perhaps. Because his philosophy was never about being perfect. It was about trying, about maintaining principles even when it's hard. He had written thousands of words about death. Now he had to prove it. Not in theory, but in reality, with pain, with betrayal, with the knowledge that his former student had ordered this, and by all accounts, he faced it with dignity. As you breathe gently, know this. Seneca lived an extraordinary life, born in Spain, educated in Rome, exiled to Corsica, recalled to tutor an emperor. He rose to power, helped guide an empire, and wrote philosophy that outlived Rome itself. His life contained contradictions, philosopher and politician, teacher of virtue and servant of power. These contradictions make him human, make him real. They make him a guide for us who also struggle, who also compromise, who also try to be better. Rest now. Let your breathing slow and deepen. Take with you what serves you, how you spend your time, how you handle anger, how you think about death. Seneca would tell you not to worry about tomorrow. He would tell you to focus on now. Sleep peacefully, knowing that you too can cultivate tranquility. You too can face whatever comes with courage. The story of Seneca's life continues in your own life, in your own choices, in your own journey. Rest now. Let go. You are safe. You are calm. You are resting. Sleep comes naturally. Let go. You are enough. You are safe. Rest comes easily. Good night. May you find the peace Seneca sought, the wisdom he discovered, the courage he showed, finding freedom, finding rest, finding peace.